Hello everyone, myself Nirmal Chetri. Today I'm here with my group to present group presentation of Audit Assurance and Compliance Practical Law. So we are 6 members in our group: Shavin GC, Sunil, Usman, Sanjeev and Abrid. For me, I'll be presenting about the introduction of today's concept is regarding corporate governance of ASX. So first you need to know about the corporate governance to understand the concept very well. So it's a system where it controls 200 Australian stock companies to operate their activities where they deal with the stock exchange within the public and some shareholders they have. And ASX is one of the stock exchange companies who make money by selling shares to the investor and again sell it to the public, so that if company performs well, public can make money from them. So it's all about shares and debentures. And the second one is importance of adapting the principles. All the companies, they just can't open the stock exchange companies or something. There's nothing policy like that. They have to follow some systems, some rules if they want to stick in the market. So we do have some principles. So my friend Sabin GC will be explaining about the principles for the corporate governance of ASX. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend Nirmal, for giving me an opportunity to talk the corporate governance principle of Australian Security Exchange. The very first principle is to lay solid foundation for management and finding the direction for the companies. And those listed companies are around 200 in Australian Security Exchange, as my friend Nirmal already had said it. The very first prime purpose in the ASX and the management of the company should need to do is to mention the goals, what they set for their organization. After then setting the goal, they have to maintain the staff of the organization, and they have to give follow various responsibility, and also in the very end, every information or the structure of the management should need to be clearly defined. And the second principle of corporate governance is the structure, the board to be effective and to add value. Also, the second principle is to maintain the structure of the board, which should be effective and must add value to the organization. In the listed companies, they need to construct their board as per the specified structure of Australian Security Exchange, because they have a fixed systems in which the formality should be maintained. Also, companies will be able to form an effective board in the corporate governance. Thank you for it, and I'm willing to pass to talk other principle to my friend Sunil Sylvester. Thank you.
Thank you, Shavin GC, for explaining the first and second principle of corporate governance. Now I'm here to explain about the third and fourth principle. And the third principle is instill a culture of acting lawful, ethically and responsibly. Company are bonded to maintain the proper work environment. They should establish the ethical and responsible decision, and they should perform their work on the legal rule and regulation. And the next principle is the safeguarding the integrity of the corporate reports. And in this principle, company are responsible for safeguarding their corporate report, and there should be create a committee, audit committee, and there should be at least 3 members, and the report should be confidential, and it should not be disclosed to other, and and it should be of non-executive member, and that's it for me. And now I'm going to assign the next principal to Usman Tirmanjina. Thank you.
Hi, myself Usman, and thank you, Sunil, for the introduction. And for the presentation, I would like to dig a little bit about the fifth and sixth principle: make timely and balanced disclosure and respect the right of the security holder. So, like the balance of these reports must be tallied. The interest rates should be considered to all the investors. So, as you can see in the diagram, it's altogether 8 diagram: recognize and manage ethics and responsible. That's it. And for the next principle, I'm talking about the 7th and the 8th principle: recognize and manage risks and remunerate fairly and responsible. So, like in here, all the listed companies are required to pay the remuneration to all their staffs, and needs to pay and they have to deal with the possible risks and all the things, as you can see clear in this diagram as well. Corporate governance in the Infosys. And so, and for the presentation, I would like to call Sanjit. Thank you.
Thank you, Osman. Myself, Sanjit. Now I'd like to talk about the impact of implementing the principle of corporate governance. Firstly, companies are able to manage the entire business activities in effective and efficient manner. As we have already discussed about the corporate governance in our previous slide. So, corporate governance is the system by which companies are directed and managed by the board of directors. So, the board of directors will be able to manage the entire business with effective planning, organizing, and so on. Secondly, it helps in maintaining the responsibility of the company. The responsibility of board includes setting the strategic aim, providing the leadership to put into the effect, supervising the management of the business, and reporting the shareholder on their stewardship. Now, on the second slide, I would like to talk about the effect on the organizational activities. Firstly, the auditor will be able to obtain the audit evidence efficiently. Through the help of corporate governance, auditor can find ease in finding the evidence in very effective and effective manner. Secondly, all the activities of the company has been performed efficiently after adopting those principles. As we have already discussed about the principle in our previous slide, through the help of adopting those principles, the organization can be performed in effective and efficient manner.
Thank you for the entire team for presenting their own views on our presentation. And now finally I'm here to conclude our report presentation. After considering the entire report, all the effects of corporate governance can be determined, and all the listed companies are able to maintain their responsibility through this corporate governance. Hence, the corporate governance helps in maintaining the entire ecosystem in transparent and effective way. And now, these are our references. You can see that. And I hope that our presentation is good, and looking forward to get good marks. Thank you.